Hello, this is Growing Your Business with Jeffrey Scott. I have some economic predictions for you, some nuances, some big changes from last time we spoke together here. This economic cycle that we're in is different from 2008, where we had that big bust with the housing bubble. This was man-made. We created this recession, if you will. I mean, we may have been heading into one, but we hit the switch and we created this one. And the consumer was in a much better position leading into this. And therefore, the consumer will help lead us out of this recession. In the past, I predicted a V recovery, right? Recovery within a year. And I still believe in a strong recovery. I also told you that when news got worse, that would be the time of the turnaround. And the news right now is terrible. And we're just starting to see that turnaround. If you look at current data, I believe I'm still optimistic in a powerful recovery. Now, in reality, we can't predict the future. I can't predict the future. But I've written some notes here. I'm going to read to you, kind of not directly read, but I'm going to share with you some thoughtful ideas on how you can impact your own recovery. Now, in reality, the recovery will be somewhat stratified. So if you are in the meeting planning business, you're going to be in the dumps for 18 months at least, right? If you own a bar, you're going to be slower coming out of recovery. If you're in the landscaping business, especially residential landscaping, you're not really in a recession. You are booming. Now, ironically, residential landscape firms this time around are doing better than commercial. We'll see how that plays out, but to me it's quite ironic in how that currently is sort of the opposite of what many landscape companies have come to expect, why they went into commercial. They also went into it, maybe it's easier to manage or they want to sell it later on. But really there was always that thought of consistency, and here it's a little bit different in this crisis that we're experiencing right now. A recession is a zero-sum game, meaning when the economy contracts, there's less for everybody, and so some will get more, and they'll take away from those that will get less. In a boom, it's not a zero-sum economy. It's an abundance economy. Everybody is winning. And so I want you to think closely about that. The better companies treat a boom like they do a recession, and they treat a recession like you might a boom. So in a boom, they're not just free riding it, but they're putting, let's call it artificial constraints and pressures on their business to keep improving, keep innovating, not get lazy from the phone just ringing, but keep making the improvements that you would be forced to make in a recession, right? And when a recession hits, the better run companies realize now's a time to take advantage. Let's spend more on marketing when people are spending less. There's opportunities for buying, maybe buying businesses, buying equipment. And so they're able, because of the money they've saved up, to treat the recession as really a time in the economy when prices go down and you can buy things cheaper. So some pivots I want you to think about, and then I want to talk to you about something having to do with the money that you're making. But some pivots. In this current crazy crisis we're going through, think about where the customers are. I want you to go to where the customers are, right? If you're doing commercial and residential, you know that because you're probably shifting more to residential. But regardless of the market you're in, look at the parts of your businesses that are doing better and step on the gas in those parts of the business. Move to stronger markets, right? Geographically, if you're serving multiple markets, wherever you see the business booming, go there, market there. Use the technology now that's going to help you get to market. You've heard me talk about this. If you have a garden center, right, going online, using online more and more to reach your clients. So let me talk about a few more points here. What will you do with all the cash you're making this year? And many landscape companies are making more cash this year than they had last year. I just got off the phone with a client who has almost $900,000 of cash. Now, part of it is we've been working together, he's growing, he's improving, and part of it's the PPP money coming to him. $5 million company, he's never had this kind of cash in the spring. What should he do with it? I got the call from another client around the same size. I've got all this money. What do I do with it? Well, do not follow your tax accountant's advice. Don't try to lower your taxes by just spending it willy-nilly. I've told you for a while now, I want you to save money. So now's a chance to save that money, save the cash, and use it smartly. When you can, when the business comes up for sale, if you want to negotiate and buy certain equipment that you absolutely need. But let's also save it. Who knows what's going to happen as we go through the ups and downs of opening up our businesses and pulling through this pandemic. So cash is king. I want you to continue to build up your balance sheet. Don't just spend it down. But also be on the lookout for real deals, right? Maybe buying equipment slightly used. Like I said, diversifying through buying companies, other service lines. So this is an opportunity. Remember, in a recession, prices are lower, and so things are actually a little cheaper. And if you have the money to negotiate, you can get better deals. So all in all, with all the bad news you're reading out there, it's really the pivot moment in the economy. Now let's talk about some realities here. This isn't just a theoretical discussion. This pandemic is killing people. It's harming people, harming families. And I want to end on a leadership note. Being a great leader means two things. It means naming the problem, naming the illness, naming the deaths, naming the physical challenges that you or your people are having. And it also means taking time to mourn. We can't just think cold hard facts all the time and jumping from one economic cycle to another. It's important to take time to mourn, whether it's one death and it's in your family and you take that week to really deal with the loss and mourn, whether it's multiple people in your community, people in your company or their family. Taking that time to mourn shows respect. It's something we have to do really from our heart in order to be able to move on. And so think about that. Think about your leadership responsibility in naming the personal tragedies and issues that we're dealing with while you're communicating and planning for the future and giving reassurance to your team. I wish you the best of luck this coming quarter. If you have any questions for me, you can email me at jeff@jeffreyscott.biz. Thank you.